Welcome to Living Your Path. I am Cecile Ferry, a coach and astrologer. I'm here to guide you on how to live and work in alignment with your true self so you can find fulfillment and serenity. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to your cosmic catch-up for week commencing the 8th of December. So the good news is this is a quiet week astrologically, and you have not heard me say that very much in the last 3 to 6 months, so let's enjoy it. Next week is quite loaded. We kind of finish the year with quite a bit happening, so this week is more cruisy, more easy peasy, and I think we all need that. This actually gives me also the opportunity to cover a couple of things before we get into the astrology. I've got 2 things to convey to you if you haven't seen them, if you are not on my newsletter, which you can join on my website at cecileferry.com. 2 things. So last week I did launch something very special, very new and exciting to my audience, and it is a deck of oracle cards that I have designed myself that is absolutely beautiful. So if you haven't heard, go and visit on my website. Again, I will put the link in the show notes, cecileferry.com. Just have a look at those cards because they might really inspire you. They make a perfect gift for people for Christmas or for yourself. They are all based on channeling your intuition and have beautiful, simple messages. And I have heard great feedback. I use them myself every week, and I use them also at the start of the year. When I set up my intentions for the year, I pull a card for each month of the year. So more on that later, but if you haven't heard, highly recommend you go and check them out. They're available to order on my website. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, I know we're all head down busy with the end of the year, but just so you know, I have 3 really nice offers for the astrology of 2026, wherever you are at. So I will put them again in the show note. If you're quite advanced and you've already had a birth chart reading with me, there is a straightforward transit reading for next year for you. If you are new to me or to astrology, I have given you a bundled offer of the birth chart reading and the transit reading that is at a discounted rate. And if you're not quite ready for a reading and all of that, that sounds too much, but you'd love to know more, you can order a simple report that will still be tailored to some extent to you. So all of those options on my website in the show notes. That is all I had to cover. Now let's get into this week, astrology. So the main thing is right now we're really in the peak of Sagittarius season. We have the Sun, Mars and Venus in Sagittarius. So there's a lot of that fire energy, lots of optimism, a sense of freedom, a sense of exploration and adventure. So I hope you're feeling that light kind of forward energy. And on Thursday, we will have Mercury joining that gang in Sagittarius. So it is moving forward now that it has ended retrograde, and it's kind of regaining all the path that it had undone during its retrograde. So it's still a shadow period, we call it, and we are still integrating the lessons. So we're finishing to integrate the lessons in Scorpio, and then from Thursday onwards, we will integrate those from Sagittarius. So again, that just means our minds are going to be thinking more expansively, with more optimism, more faith, and a certain directness in our communications, which I think is really useful, especially at that time of the year. So remember to speak your truth. That's the energy of Sagittarius. Now, the main event of this week is on Wednesday. We have Neptune stationing direct. So it's ending its retrograde in Pisces, and it will start moving forward again. The first thing I want to say is it's good because one by one, those planets that were in retrograde are starting to move forward. So not long ago, we had Saturn going forward. A bit prior, it was Pluto. And now we just have Uranus that is still going retrograde for a couple more weeks. Saturn and Neptune are 2 big planets at the moment, and they're really shaping everything that is happening on a global scene, and that will be happening next year. So I've been covering that before. Just a quick recap. Those planets went into Aries earlier this year, around April, May. And we got a taste of what that looks like and feels like. And it's a lot more forward-looking and really growing new beginnings in our lives. And then they went retrograde, both of them. And so we went kind of backwards into the thinking phase and realizing things. And we're in Pisces, which is not a very defined sign. It's not supposed to be. It is about really connecting with the outer world and our ultimate wisdom, inspiration, and spiritually as well. And so we're still there in a retrograde movement, so really sort of simmering in that. And now that is ending. Saturn has already ended and it's moving forward. So we are implementing the last batch of lessons for those two planets in Pisces. I'm excited because I can't wait for the new start next year in Aries, which will be 20th of Feb. More on that later. But right now, we are integrating that Neptune in Pisces has brought us a lot of visions, dreams, sort of insight, maybe mystical insight, things, clues, intuitive guidance that we've been receiving. So this isn't a time for action. This is a time to consolidate and get clear on all those things. And the action will follow when Neptune enters Aries next year. In the meantime, it is at 29 degrees of Pisces, which is the last degree of the zodiac. So that really, really means the end of a cycle. And we're going to be there for another month or two. And that's not great for the world in terms of like the environment and the weather, because Neptune means water. We're likely to have a lot of rain, floods, issues with water. We also have Uranus at 29 degrees Taurus, which gives us a lot of that electric shocking energy, which creates earthquakes. And we've been seeing that. And we still are going to see that for a couple more months until both those planets are into their new signs. Neptune will be in Aries and Uranus will be in Gemini. Okay, but just right now, this is the final point of completion, of dissolution before something new forms. You may be like me, like, come on, like you just can't wait to be into the new energy. We've got a little bit longer to go. And this is really important because we're not quite ready. Those couple more months until February next year are just final reflection, integration month. I think it's important to carve out some time to think and sit in silence, whether you like to meditate or it's a walk, that presence, that mindfulness that allows you to alchemize those visions and to really sit in that Pisces energy. It's not in the middle of the business running around the shops that you will get that space. Okay. And it's also the final opportunity to release all those shadow signs of Pisces, which are addictions, victimhood, and illusion, hanging on to fantasy, taking our dreams for reality. Like, those things don't serve us and they're not coming with us next year. So I just want to give you that big injection of courage to still push through in this final stage of dissolution, of release, because the rewards and the evolution will be there next year. And finally, you may notice some tension point this week because Mars will be squaring Saturn. It already is right now. And by Sunday, it will form an exact square with Neptune as well in Pisces. That means there are some tensions between, Mars is that moving forward, especially in Sagittarius attitude, maybe too forcefully sometimes. So there will be that desire to move forward versus Saturn in Pisces and Neptune are saying, hang on. Saturn is saying, keep maturing, see what really needs your focus. Don't just like rush too abruptly. And Mars squaring Neptune means we might get really fired up to fight for some spiritual causes or really higher level causes. We could also be sitting in that passive aggressive space. So just watch this week that Mars energy, how it's balancing with that Saturn and Neptune in Pisces energy. You may feel like you really want to move forward, but you can't quite. And if you start and try, you will see this isn't quite the time. So you have to manage that kind of push-pull in those two directions this week. All right, my friend, that's all I had for you. Enjoy a more peaceful week and all the Sagittarius energy around. Take care, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye, everyone.